Brazil 2003. It was sunny, few clouds in the sky, but sunny in general as the drivers arrived in the paddock. Here's Montoya. Yep, Montoya and Ralf Schumacher in the Williams cars. McLaren had won the opening 2 races with Coulthard, and there's Kimi. He was happy because he had won the last race. But it was Ferrari hadn't taken any victories yet, but the Tifosi had followed into Brazil. No, I'm kidding, that's the Brazilian fans. They only had one man to cheer for, and that was Rubens Barrichello. And he did them proud by putting the car in pole position. But then, Sunday race time, Brazilians didn't mind. Their man was on pole. They braved the rain. And the drivers got in their cars so that they could sit and wait around for Charlie Whiting to make a decision. There's the Michelin intermediate tyre. We'll talk about the tyres a bit later.
Where do I start to tell you about the events leading up to this year's Brazilian Grand Prix? Clearly, the headline is the weather. It started raining about 3 hours ago, and although it abated for about 20 minutes, it started, as you can see, raining very, very heavily about 15 or 20 minutes ago. A lot of talk now that the race is too unsafe to start, and we have been told, in fact, by race control, that the start will be delayed. Safety car is coming in at the end of this lap then. We've just been told by Mr. Whiting himself through the communication system here as Giancarlo Fisichella into the pit lane from the looks of things.
They're just going to fuel it up and take a gamble. So Jordan, that's a tactical move then. They were waiting for that message to say the safety car's coming in.
Yeah, so Rubens on pole, backed up the cars. The safety car peeled off into the pits to let the race start. And Rubens, this is not the best way of doing this. This was not smart.
Not a smart thing to do at all, Rubens. That's bunching the pack too much. He should have just taken a sensible run. And now Coulthard might punish him for that down into turn 1. And as long as Coulthard doesn't go and lock his brakes, which he hasn't done, Coulthard takes an easy lead then. Barrichello outsmarting himself.
Yeah, Barrichello, that was, he should have maybe backed the pack up a bit sooner and gotten away earlier. But yeah, Coulthard nailed him. And the pack was so bunched up, it actually provided some great racing in the opening stages. But they didn't show us that because Ralf Furman came into the pits, and that was more important. Well, too much action on the track, so yeah, you can't see that. We will not show you action. So as the race settled down, this was becoming a battle of Michelin versus the Bridgestone intermediate tyres. They had no wet tyres this season because who knows why, some stupid rule. No wet tyres, only inters. And you saw the staggered Michelin tyres. They were much better in these very wet conditions, and the Bridgestone inters were a lot better in the sort of more dry conditions. As Montoya was coming through, Raikkonen had gotten through on Barrichello. Barrichello,
Raikkonen closing right up on Coulthard. Barrichello dropping down the order as well.
Coulthard really lost a lot of time somewhere to Kimi Raikkonen on that lap. Raikkonen appears to be more confident at this stage for whatever reason, just taking meters out of Coulthard.
And Montoya, we believe, has gone up into 3rd place. Look at Raikkonen having a look down the inside of his teammate, but Coulthard resists.
Yeah, thanks for shouting in our faces there. Oh, F1 commentary, man. Yeah, it sounds like Michael Cole or Pat McAfee watching the wrestling, just screaming and screaming at you. Yeah, but anyway, good racing going on in the wet, tricky conditions. Teammates definitely don't want to take each other out. Coulthard had gotten back past Raikkonen, but Kimi was really much faster than DC in the wet, and he just went through a turn 1, covered turn 2, twitched a little bit there, but you know, that's his finish. Montoya, he just went round the outside of Coulthard, caught him a bit unawares. Yeah, I mean, the Finnish kids, they learn to drive in this kind of weather, so.
Confidence somewhere.
Let's have another look. There's been an incident here. That's one of the Renaults, and that's Ralf Schumacher, probably Jarno Trulli. They were together. Both of them seem to have resumed, though.
So problems at turn 3. as Michael Schumacher was being let through past Rubens Barrichello. The problems in turn 3 was very wet on the slope. The water was collecting at the bottom of the track, right on the racing line, making it very, very, very difficult for the
We've had
cars.
obviously quite a few laps under the safety car, but look at this. This is the McLaren of David Coulthard now, finding a bit more grip, finding a bit more speed, and he's giving a run at Montoya. Montoya's had a slow run out of Juncao. Don't know what happened there, but Coulthard just, well, candy from a baby.
Yeah, you'd have to think that Montoya, slightly different line, but his traction control looked like it was working too much in there at that time, and Coulthard then easily taking second place.
So the McLarens were running nicely in the front, and a little bit further back, it was Webber and Schumacher. They were about to come together, and they were both kind of gaining on Montoya, who was losing time. And then as Schumacher made his move on Webber, we cut away because too much action.
There's a lot more grip at the inside of Juncao. Coulthard found it to pass Montoya, and I think Michael's found it now. There's so much more grip if you just keep a tight line. And Montoya was going outside and running along the white line, and therefore you can hear the traction control desperately trying to hold up the engine and not spin the rear wheels. Really seriously under pressure, isn't he? But this is where he'll struggle to get that traction, and that's why the Ferrari can slingshot out. Montoya won't yield too easily, but he's having to, because he knows he hasn't got the grip when he gets there. Michael just drives around the outside of him, confident that Montoya wouldn't tag his right rear wheel.
Yeah, nice move from Michael. He was on his way past both Webber and Montoya, and he would start to close in on the two McLarens up front.
A spinner here, one of the Minardis, Verstappen, getting onto the asphalt there on the runoff area.
It's Wilson,
I beg your pardon.
And he's, according to the computer, he has stopped down there. Did not get go. Yes, indeed. Now we're seeing it out of the replay.
So Schumacher chasing those McLarens. Kimi had pulled out quite a lead, but then Coulthard had reeled him back in. And then Olivier Panis was spotted at the turn 1. And this is what happened. Ralph Furman, imagine this was you just driving along and get smashed in the back. That's bad enough. But look what happened to Ralph Furman. Imagine if this happened to you.
And I think it's a front suspension failure. He had that earlier on, didn't he? Was it Melbourne? But what's happened is his front, maybe he's tagged a car earlier in the race, but the front just giving away, braking like an egg. It's turn 1, safety car has been deployed.
Yep, and that means pit stops for everybody, except Kimi Räikkönen. For some reason here, the McLaren boys, they pitted, there comes Coulthard and Schumacher, but they left Kimi out. And maybe they didn't want to double stack, the cars were pretty close together on the track, but surely the guy in P1 gets priority. Look, there were no problems with the pit stops. Nice and easy, fuel, everything going in, tyres going on. So fresh tyres for everyone as well. And yeah, pit lane got busy. If we watch the cars, there's some entering, some leaving, some trying to avoid crashing into each other. There we go. Trying to leave while the other guy's coming in, hitting the brakes. It was a complete chaos in pit lane, as is usually the case when there's a safety car and the guys need some it's a free pit stop. So yeah, everybody comes in and you get a traffic jam. But then there was time for Kimi, who he didn't stop, so he's still leading the race, but unfortunately any advantage he had is wiped out. And Rubens, are you watching? Let me show you how to do this. This is how you do it. He times this perfectly. He's at full speed. The safety car just peels in. There's the pack coming up to the pit entry, and Kimi's gone. DC behind Michael, and then Cristiano De Matter was up to fourth. He was one that also just didn't pit. He wouldn't last in that position for very long, but they all filed through quite nicely through the first couple of corners, and then you can see here. No, not. Whoa, he's dangerous to move that close to the braking zone, especially in the wet. It wouldn't take long before the dreaded turn 3 would claim another victim.
And big accident.
Montoya and Pitsonia It looks like Montoya on the left in the BMW. Here's what happened, Martin.
Yes, and got away from pit zone, he aquaplaned, and I've got a feeling that Montoya's just going to have his own accident. No, he's already gone off. So Montoya, they both aquaplaned on the same. That's what I was just talking about in turn 3. And there's just new water coming from somewhere, James.
Yep, there is. It must be coming out of some drainage hole or something somewhere.
So the powers that be decided no safety car, and yeah, that was not really the smartest move. That really should have been a safety car. Nowadays it would be a safety car, because look what happens here. It's Michael Schumacher. He's off into the wall, but that's dangerous. There's marshals down there. He could have hit some of the marshals, injuring them, possibly killing them. That's not great. But also, there's the Caterpillar loader in the background there. If he goes into that corner, loses it a little bit later, he collects that Caterpillar. That's how Jules Bianchi was killed. And that's why they have safety cars now whenever something goes wrong. You can see it here from this angle. You can see right there's that cat. Oh my goodness. Not great. As Kimi came in for his pit stop, he would lose track position, but have fresh tyres and some more fuel.
There's the safety car going into the pit lane. He's safely off the racetrack. David Coulthard then will bring them round on lap 29 of 71. And what a great restart he's had.
Yes, indeed. Coulthard got away nicely. Barrichello did not. And Ralf Schumacher, he came round the outside. Yeah. But Rubinho was having none of that. Maybe took Schumacher a bit by surprise. Schumacher was like, hey, doesn't your contract say you have to let Schumachers past? And Rubens was like, yeah, no, only the older brother, not you, Ralph. And Ralph then came under pressure from the Jag of Mark Webber behind.
Coulthard then, as I said, this is purely intermediate racetrack stuff until he gets here in the heart of turn 3, and the car just moving around a little bit. It just balances the throttle, just releases the grip on the steering wheel, and not put too much energy into the tyre, and hope and pray that you can get through it on that particular lap.
Oh, and that's Button.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jenson Button, he met the turn 3 wall.
He's gone off further round though, and then he put some opposite lock in. That was a big accident. Safety cars on standby, but Button was further round turn 3, corrected the slide, and then unfortunately the front tyre did bite, and bang, straight to the scene of the accident. I'm pretty sure he'll be just fine. Did a good job of slowing him down. Safety car is out again for the 4th time this afternoon. This, James, is a race of survival. Just 11 runners then, and we're just at half distance.
So another restart, and DC again, getting away nicely. This time Rubens does a better job of keeping Ralph behind him, and then Alonso and Raikkonen following him. Fisichella at the moment is in 6th place. He's also just hanging in there, as everybody is.
11 runners, but there's still plenty of action in the midfield. Alonso up into 4th, you can see him there, just behind Ralf Schumacher. Alonso then, and Raikkonen, the 2 young men that were such stars in Malaysia, have kept their head, kept their cars in line so far this afternoon.
Yeah, it was 2003. We were more interested in guys like Ralf Schumacher, Alonso, Kimi Raikkonen. Will DC ever win a world championship? Watch Raikkonen here. Sets Alonso up, down the inside. Thank you, lad. Coming through. And then, just to show why he's the coolest, and he's the guy everyone came to watch. Maybe not in Brazil, but worldwide. He was the one providing all the action round the outside of Ralf Schumacher, pulling the old 2 trailer park girls going around the outside. Ralph trying to keep the door closed on the inside. Kimi didn't need the inside. And action further back as Alonso was also catching Ralph.
That's a replay of Alonso and Ralf Schumacher.
It's good stuff if Alonso gets round the outside of Magullo. The kids are driving all round the outside of him this afternoon, and that was extremely impressive.
Yeah, the kids doing good stuff. We were kind of bored of just watching Michael Schumacher win everything in 2003, as Mark Webber showed them how it's done at turn 3. That's how you keep it out of the wall. You can have your spin, but you don't have to end your race. Barrichello, the track was drying, the Bridgestone Inters were becoming the better tyre to be on, and Rubens was hunting down DC. And you can see he's on the straights, he's in the slipstream, in the tow, and he's not going to have a look, but because he knows. Just wait till we get to the slower sections, but then DC just ran it wide anyway, put the pressure on, did Rubens, and DC a little bit too deep into the braking zone, and Barrichello was setting the fastest lap while he was at it.
The drying line appearing, you're looking for it all the time, obviously trying to stay on the dry stuff as much as possible, but do you not have to keep these things quite cool as well?
Yeah.
Well, he's slowing, is he?
Yes, he is.
He's slowing, Rubens Barrichello. I don't believe it. He's retired here 8 years in a row. He was leading here last year and this happened. Coulthard goes past him. Raikkonen goes past him. Ralf Schumacher goes past him. And you hear that thump. That's thousands of hearts in Sao Paulo in the grandstands hitting the floor. Rubinho is out of the race. Oh my goodness.
Brazilians have bad luck in Brazil. Senna won Monaco 6 times, Brazil once. So, and all of those are due to just bad luck. Fisichella had made his way up into third, lap 52. Coulthard pits. This is where counting the laps is going to be important. You can see DC struggling to slow the car down before the speed limit line, but a good, no problem with a pit stop, good stop. But he would rue the pit stop on lap 52. These two got past him though, and Raikkonen leading, Fisichella second, and then you can see 5.8 seconds back to Alonso in third, Coulthard was fourth. Raikkonen's tyres were gone, and Giancarlo, he came through, and we'll see in the replay that Kimi's rear end, there we go, just, wow, dancing there. So Fisichella led. That was lap 54 that he took the lead on. So Raikkonen was leading lap 53, Fisichella took the lead on lap 54. This is lap 55, Mark Webber was in the wall. Very, very fast accident this. Bang. And I think, yeah, we've all seen this one over and over and over again. We know what happens next. The safety car was deployed, and then Alonso joined the scene. And now the red flag is thrown on lap 55, but later the timing would show that Fisichella had crossed the line to begin lap 56. This is terrible for Alonso. There goes Fisichella on his way to begin lap 56. And you see a few cars, quite a lot of time goes by, then Alonso has the crash. Around about now, Fisichella is crossing the line to begin lap 56, and there comes the red flag. It was a matter of seconds. Alonso was, he just, have a rest. Sit down, chill out, have it. That was a big accident. So, 2/3 distance were completed. Fisichella, he brought his car into the Parc Fermé for the podium celebrations there, and his car caught fire. Jordan, you know, the one car's suspension is breaking, the other car's catching fire in the wet. Hectic, Jordan. But great scenes here because Fisichella had won the race. But then, the FIA. Oh my goodness. 110 Grand Prix, he's finally won one, and they're going to take it away from him. Yeah. The McLaren boys, everyone was kind of watching. Jordan was celebrating. They had shown Fisichella as the winner. So, celebration. But now they count back 2 laps from when the red flag was thrown. So they thought, red flag lap 55, there's Fisichella begging, no, please let me win. So lap 55, 2 laps before that, lap 53, Kimi was leading. So Coulthard was wishing he didn't pit. Kimi led on lap 53, and they said, okay, it's Kimi's win on lap 53, but later they'd have an investigation into it. Tag would come in, Tag Heuer came in, they were the timing partner. They came in and said they had an investigation. They looked at everything and concluded that Fisichella, before the red flag had thrown, Fisichella crossed the line to begin lap 56. So you got to count back 2 laps from lap 56, which is lap 54, and Fisichella was the leader on lap 54. Eddie Jordan's face says it all. But here's what Fisichella had to say about it on the day in Brazil. So yeah, it was a epic race, must be said. That's the official classification. That would be changed before the next Grand Prix, which would be in Italy at Imola. So yeah, as they rolled into the Imola circuit, the results of the investigation were revealed, and basically, yeah, they had to do. Did a big photo thing. Very sorry. Yeah, Kimi, here's your winner's trophy. Please give it to Giancarlo. There you go, Giancarlo. Congratulations on winning your first Grand Prix. And Fisichella, he was a bit of a bastard here. He didn't give Raikkonen the second place trophy. Like, hey.
I was very nervous. It was around 12 o'clock in the morning, and I was waiting. Eddie's answer. And then around 12:15 he called me and he said straight away, Giancarlo, you are the winner. So it was fantastic.
He's like a new boy, you know, he's in his own country, first time, an Italian winner for 11 years, coming to Imola's home track. It's like as if all his prayers have been answered in one go.
Yeah, great result that for Jordan and for Eddie Jordan as well. Everybody loves Eddie Jordan. And that's going to be it for this one, guys. If you liked the video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. That really helps YouTube with an algorithm or something like that. I don't know how it works. I just know it works that way. And until the next one, guys, have a good time all the time. Cheers.